Okay, so let's talk about something we've all probably dealt with, the performance review. It's supposed to be this great tool for growth, but how often does it just feel, well, broken? Like there's a serious glitch in the system.
I mean, have you ever walked out of one of those meetings just feeling, I don't know, completely blindsided? Like the feedback you got had nothing to do with the actual work you've been doing all year? Something just feels off, right? But you can't quite name it.
Well, if that sounds familiar, you're in good company. And here's the thing, it's usually not because your manager is a bad person. The real problem, as we're going to see, is these hidden bugs in our own mental software. We're talking about unconscious biases, and they can turn a really well-intentioned process into something that feels totally unfair. Okay, so let's get into it. First up, we have what I'm calling the human glitch biases. These are the ones that come straight from our gut feelings, our personal connections, basically our brain's tendency to take the easy way out. And the first big glitch on our list is something called affinity bias. It's super simple, really. It's just our brain's natural pull towards people who are, well, like us. People who share our background, our hobbies, even just our sense of humor. The danger? We start confusing that great personal connection with actual top-notch competence. And you can see exactly how this plays out, right? A manager thinks, hey, we get along so well, we have such a great vibe, and without even realizing it, that warm, fuzzy feeling turns into a stellar performance rating. But what's really happening? The rating is based on that personal connection, not the hard objective results. Next up is a really tricky one. It's kind of like a two-for-one deal. It's called the halo and horn effect. Basically, this is when one single thing about a person, whether it's really good or really bad, puts a giant filter over how you see everything else they do. For instance, think about someone who's an incredible presenter, just nails every meeting. That's the halo. Their manager might be so wowed by that skill that they completely miss the fact that this person is always missing deadlines. And then there's the flip side, the horns. An employee makes one big, visible mistake, and suddenly a whole year of solid, consistent work just gets wiped out. It's all anyone can remember. All right, let's move on to our next set of glitches. And you'll see, these are all about taking the easy way out. We're calling them the path of least resistance biases. These are the ones that happen when managers just, well, they want to avoid a tough conversation or having to do a lot of deep thinking. And a perfect example of this is leniency bias. You've probably seen this one. It's when managers tend to rate people a little bit higher than they maybe deserve. And why do they do it? Let's be honest. Giving tough feedback is uncomfortable. Nobody wants to have that awkward, confrontational chat. It's just so much easier to nudge that score up a little and call it a day. So, in a perfect world, if you mapped out all the performance ratings in a company, it should look like this, right? A classic bell curve. You've got a few folks who are struggling and need some help, the big majority in the middle who are doing a good, solid job, and then your rock stars at the top who are just crushing it. But look what happens when leniency bias takes over. That nice bell curve gets totally warped. All of a sudden, nobody's in the low category anymore, and almost everyone is crammed into average and high. At that point, the data is basically useless. It doesn't tell you anything real about performance. And right alongside that, you've got its close cousin, central tendency bias. This is when managers just put everyone in the middle. Meets expectations, average, satisfactory. It's the ultimate safe play. You don't have to defend a low score, and you don't have to go to bat for a high one. You just kind of tick the box and move on. And here's the real kicker. When this happens, everybody loses. Your absolute top performers, they don't get the recognition and rewards they've earned. And the people who are actually struggling, they never get the real, honest feedback they need to get better. The whole system just grinds to a halt. So you might be thinking, okay, this is annoying, but it goes way beyond just one bad meeting or some hurt feelings. No, the cost of these bugs is huge. They can create a ripple effect of problems that can seriously harm the entire organization. Think about it. When people see this happening year after year, they just stop believing in the process. It loses all credibility. It's no longer a tool for growth. It's just this cynical corporate ritual. And that kills your feedback culture. It trashes the idea that hard work pays off, and it means the company starts making really bad calls on who to promote, who to invest in, and who to let go. And this quote really just nails it, doesn't it? It all boils down to this. Bias creates a fundamental disconnect between the rating someone receives and the actual results they produced. When what's on the paper doesn't match what's happening in reality, the whole system is broken. Period. Okay, so that's a lot of problems. The big question is, what do we do about it? How do we actually debug this broken system? Well, the good news is it's not hopeless. There are some really clear, practical steps we can take. Let's open up the toolkit.
Step 1, get super clear on your criteria. No more vague impressions. We need specific, measurable results and behaviors. Step 2, train your managers. You have to teach people what these biases look like so they can spot them in themselves and others. Step 3 is a big one, calibration sessions. This is where managers get in a room together and actually have to justify their ratings to each other. It's amazing how that brings fairness and consistency. And finally, step 4, use 360-degree feedback. Get input from everyone, peers, people they manage, not just their boss. It gives you a much, much fuller picture.
And look, the goal here isn't to turn managers into robots. We're always going to need human judgment. The point is to build a fair, transparent process around that judgment, a system that helps good people make even better, more objective decisions.
So, as we wrap this up, I want you to think about your own career for a second. Which of these bugs have you seen in action? The affinity bias, the halo and horn effect, leniency, central tendency, which one feels the most familiar? Because honestly, just being able to name the bug is the very first step towards squashing it.